Machiavelli once wrote that a man who makes mistakes in his behavior does not need enemies, for he destroys himself. He was right. Most people believe power is stolen from the outside, but the truth? Power is lost from within. And according to Machiavelli, there are 7 unacceptable behaviors, habits so dangerous that if you carry them, no army, no wealth, no strategy can save you. Today, we are going to uncover these 7 deadly mistakes, and if you recognize even one in yourself, remember, Machiavelli believed it was enough to destroy your influence, your respect, and even your life. Stay with me till the end, because the last behavior is the one he considered absolutely fatal. Machiavelli warned rulers, "He who justifies himself too often loses dignity." Think about it. Every time you over-explain, every time you try to make others understand your decisions, you silently admit one thing, that their approval matters more than your authority. Machiavelli believed that power is not about truth, but perception. The more you explain, the weaker your perception becomes. Because in the eyes of others, someone who is truly powerful doesn't need to defend or justify. They simply act, and their action becomes law. Real world? The boss who explains every rule looks insecure. The partner who explains every word sounds guilty. The leader who keeps clarifying seems powerless. Machiavelli's brutal truth: never explain yourself, make them wonder, make them fear your silence. This one sounds cruel, but Machiavelli never cared about sounding cruel. He cared about reality. He said, men should be treated kindly or destroyed. Anything in between invites rebellion. Here's what he meant. Constant kindness, especially when it's not balanced with boundaries, is read not as goodness, but as weakness. People don't admire endless kindness, they exploit it. Think about history. Generous kings were the first to be betrayed. Leaders who forgave too much were overthrown. Even in relationships, kindness without control turns into manipulation, where the giver bleeds and the taker never stops taking. Machiavelli's warning: kindness without power is suicide. If you want respect, he said, be feared first and kind later. Now we've seen the danger of over-explaining and the poison of blind kindness. But Machiavelli's next warning is far darker, because it's the very behavior that destroys kingdoms, families, and even love. And most people commit it every single day without realizing. Machiavelli warned, he who depends on the love of others lives as their servant. Most people spend their lives addicted to approval. They crave validation, likes, compliments, attention, applause. But in Machiavelli's world, this behavior is poison. Because the moment you depend on approval, you are no longer a ruler of yourself. You are ruled by the people you want approval from. A prince who ruled by popularity was always unstable. One scandal, one rumor, and the people turned against him. A leader who begged to be loved eventually became a puppet. And today, it's the same. The worker who tries to please everyone is ignored by everyone. The woman who wants every man to like her is respected by none. The man who lives for validation is forgotten when validation disappears. Machiavelli's lesson was sharp. Respect is not given to those who beg for it. It is given to those who can live without it. In other words, stop asking, start commanding. This was one of Machiavelli's most brutal warnings. He wrote, "The prince who cannot master his emotions will always be mastered by others." What did he mean? Emotions, anger, jealousy, love, fear, are all weapons. If you don't control them, someone else will use them against you. History proves this. Kings lost wars because of rage, generals lost armies because of pride, and lovers lost respect because of uncontrolled desire. Machiavelli believed that the powerful man or woman is cold on the surface, but strategic within. They feel emotions, yes, but they never act blindly on them. They use them at the right time, like a blade hidden under the cloak. Look at the world around you. The boss who shouts in anger becomes predictable. The lover who cries too much loses control of the relationship. The leader who falls for flattery is destroyed by manipulation. But the one who controls emotions, they look untouchable. And untouchable people inspire both fear and respect. Machiavelli's warning was clear. Emotion makes you human, but strategy makes you powerful. Now, if you think over-explaining, blind kindness, and emotional weakness are dangerous, wait until you hear the next behavior. Machiavelli called it the silent disease of rulers, the mistake that destroys power from within without anyone noticing. Too little Machiavelli once warned, the more you speak, the more you reveal. The less you speak, the more they imagine. This is what he called the silent disease of rulers. Most people talk to fill silence. They reveal their plans, their fears, their secrets, just to feel important. But every extra word is a weapon handed to the enemy. Why is this unacceptable? Because words cannot be taken back. Once you reveal your thoughts, people can use them, twist them, or attack them. History proved this again and again. Kings who spoke too openly about their plans were betrayed before the war even began. Generals who revealed their fears lost their armies. Politicians who could not keep silent were destroyed by their own speeches. And today, the friend who talks too much about their goals is laughed at when they fail. The partner who overshares becomes predictable and boring. The worker who reveals frustrations to the wrong person gets fired. Machiavelli's law was brutal. Let others reveal themselves, but you, speak only when your silence has already trapped them. True power, he said, lies not in speaking, but in making others speak. Here we enter dangerous territory. Machiavelli's warning was harsh. He who trusts everyone will be destroyed by anyone. Trust, for Machiavelli, was not a gift. It was a currency, and he believed most people spend it carelessly. Why? Because humans are selfish. They betray when it benefits them. They lie when it protects them. They switch sides when the wind changes. To Machiavelli, blind trust was not kindness. It was suicide. He gave rulers one principle: trust slowly, test constantly, and always prepare for betrayal. Real-world application? The king who trusted his advisors without testing them was poisoned at dinner. The businessman who trusted every partner was ruined in contracts. The lover who trusted blindly was broken by betrayal. But the one who kept his guard, he could not be fooled, because he expected betrayal before it came. Machiavelli's brutal truth was this: trust is not the foundation of power. Fear is. That doesn't mean never trust. It means trust only when you hold leverage. Trust only when the cost of betrayal is too high for the other person. Now you've seen how words can destroy you, and how blind trust can end you. But the final behavior Machiavelli warned against is darker than all the others combined. Because it is not about how you deal with others. It is about how you deal with yourself. And if you fail here, Machiavelli believed no one could ever save you. Machiavelli warned against this behavior more than any other, because it is the most silent killer of power, the habit of betraying yourself before the world ever gets the chance. He wrote, "The greatest enemy of man is not his rival, nor his enemy, but his own doubt." Why? Because when a person underestimates themselves, they shrink before they even fight. They apologize before they even speak. They quit before the enemy even attacks. Machiavelli saw this again and again. Princes who doubted their right to rule were overthrown by weaker men with stronger belief. Generals who second-guessed their strategies lost to armies half their size, and lovers who thought too little of themselves gave away all their value for free. The world is full of those who destroy themselves with doubt. Modern world examples: the worker who says, "I'm not good enough for promotion," and never applies. The woman who says, "He's too good for me," and stays in toxic love. The man who says, "I can't lead," and spends life following. Machiavelli's warning: doubt makes you your own prisoner, and no one escapes the prison they build for themselves. So what did he recommend? He believed rulers must train the mind to expect greatness, not to beg for it, not to dream about it, but to live as if power was already theirs, because perception becomes reality, and the one who underestimates themselves invites everyone else to do the same. Let's step back. Machiavelli's 7 unacceptable behaviors were not random. They were a system, each one connected to the next. 1. Explaining too much, loss of authority. 2. Showing too much kindness, exploited by others. 3. Seeking approval, becoming a servant to opinions. 4. Acting out of emotion, losing control of yourself. 5. Speaking too much, revealing your weaknesses. 6. Trusting too easily, handing others the knife to betray you. 7. Underestimating yourself, destroying your own kingdom before battle begins. One by one, they form a chain. Break one link, and power collapses. But cut all 7 out of your life, and Machiavelli believed you could walk untouchable. Machiavelli never believed the world was fair. He believed the world was ruled by those who are willing to face the brutal truths of human behavior. And his warning remains the same today. If you wish to rule yourself, and perhaps rule others, you must begin by refusing these 7 behaviors. Stop explaining. Control kindness. Reject approval. Master emotions. Guard your words. Doubt trust. Never underestimate yourself. Because in the end, power is not about crowns, armies, or wealth. It is about the mind. And the mind that avoids these 7 unacceptable behaviors is a mind that can never be conquered. Now ask yourself, which of these behaviors still live inside you? Because Machiavelli would say, the enemy you fear is not out there. It's already inside. Avoid these 7, and you will never need to beg for respect again. Embody their opposites, and you will live with the kind of power most people only dream of. And remember his final cold truth. Men are punished not only for the crimes they commit, but for the weaknesses they allow. So, will you continue allowing them, or will you erase them before they erase you?